they line up, and they've certainly lined up for Shake Shack.
Apparently they like shacks and shakes.
Well,
the Elise is going to be banned, though, on the blue side here from Samsung, which is interesting. Syndra going to be the answering ban. A little bit of extra flexibility now for BBQ.
Samsung banning the Elise on blue is interesting. They're already opting into banning more champions on blue than we normally see, where teams will kind of ban pocket picks or out-of-meta picks in order to get something or trade a power pick on the blue side for a couple of picks on the red side. Already Galio and Elise, two of those highly prized first picks are eliminated. I somehow don't expect Samsung to be able to pick up Zac on blue side, given that Ambition's already played a pretty strong game on it.
Well, now they get to focus ban something away from BBQ, because, of course, they do want to be able to lock that one down. Could be a Thresh.
Talia also could be considered here.
Yeah. Crown probably wanting to ban the Galio because he's like, I don't want to have a boring game, guys. And the Thresh is going to be the ban.
Interesting to see the Thresh be banned away from Totoro. Has played some of it this season, but it's most known for the Braum. Braum has been very highly selected. Might have actually been the highest selected support across all regions last week. I was looking at some data points. So teams have been favoring it. Predictably, Zac does not go through to Samsung. So when it comes to top meta picks, only really the Karma and Lee Sin are available. And Karma's kind of a Samsung special, given that how much Crown plays it. So not necessarily a must first pick in other series, but given that Samsung have already run into great success in mid and support, makes sense to have that as a first pick for Samsung. And also giving away Lee Sin to Bless isn't the same as giving Lee Sin to some of our other Lee Sin specialists in Korea.
Now BBQ actually looking to try and pick away both of Ambition's junglers that are left over, which makes a lot of sense if Bless is now going to lock away the Lee Sin. It does lock in crazy for the top lane Gragas, but, okay, they're not going to decide to do it. I'd like it if that was going to happen. However, looking to see whether they can take away the Varus has been certainly a highly contentious AD pick, and does leave that Gragas pick ambiguous. Much like the Karma is on the side of Samsung, BBQ keeping some flexibility over their side, which I do like as well.
And even if the numbers were not impressive from the side of Ruler, he is now 7-1 on Varus in summer season, so it is a takeaway pick from the comfort of Ruler, who has been targeted before. Feels like he only really has 3 or 4 champions in his pool, much like Crown and Cuvée have been kind of looked at in terms of small champion pools. Does feel like Samsung can be banned out with 5 bans if you're willing to fully invest in a single role. Ambition doesn't go towards the Lee Sin, will just go towards the jungle Kha'Zix. Does actually suggest further that it's going to be a mid lane Karma, just so you have those bigger shields to get the Kha'Zix going in a team fight.
Would make some sense, but of course still options. That Orianna has access to a shield as well. Could be paired with the Rek'Sai also relatively effectively, given the leap in. But probably going to be saving those shields for Cuvée if they do attempt any sort of team fight situation. So it is going to be the LeBlanc from Tempt once again. We'll see what the answer is from Crown, and whether or not BBQ are going to attack his champion pool moving into this ban phase.
You could definitely teleport Karma into the LeBlanc. We saw this as recently as a couple of weeks ago, and also most famously recently at the Samsung versus SKT Spring Final, where Faker ran both mid lane Karma and mid lane Lulu against Pawns LeBlanc. So it could just be firming on that Karma mid as a selection, but like you say, there is always the outside chance the flexes come in. I'm wondering if we're going to see a lane focus from the side of BBQ, maybe see Crazy jump onto the Kled to try to take down the, what could be a blind pick Renekton from the side of Samsung.
Yeah, and it looks like BBQ have the same idea as you, PubSmithy, that Ashe going to be banned away, and you could expect something else from that 80 carry position potentially from BBQ as well, as Xayah's going to be the option.
He's only played Jhin, apart from the picks that are banned in this game, Caitlyn, Ashe, and the Varus takeaway. So Xayah is the one that he's been playing in solo queue, but hasn't shown in summer yet. So for once, it's going to be Ruler focused out with the bans. We've seen a couple of different strategies recently. The Crown focus worked for KT in Game 1 of the Samsung series, and they tried to ban out Core JJ, and that didn't work. But they will be going for the Kled. Okay, so it is going to be the reverse matchup here for the side of Samsung. It is a matchup where you can snowball early Ambition already had that great visit to bot lane to snowball a winning matchup for BBQ against them in Game 1, so perhaps he'll be adjusting his movements to top lane for Game 2.
Oh, Ruler actually going to take the Twitch here as well, so questioning what he was going to opt into, and it is going to be Tom Kench as well. Coveted support on the bottom side for Core JJ. Certainly a champion that you can make great use of. And now you've got some pretty destructive Abyssal Voyage submarine scenarios Core JJ can employ throughout that mid-game.
Double submarines are possible here, as Kha'Zix has that invisibility as well, and Totoro is going to be jumping onto the Rakan support without the synergy with the Xayah. Interesting to track, so another engage. Wombo engage possibilities for the side of BBQ. They'll have the pressure advantage in bot lane, which is rare in Rakan lanes, but I think they'll be in a good spot because of the Varus. Led as that matchup that goes well after a point against the Renekton. Samsung got so many advantages early that they made tricky matchups look easy because they had navigated the early game so well. Will BBQ be able to do a renaissance of that sort of performance? Will it be a reenactment, or will it be the sort of pain that can be inflicted by Samsung's early lanes?
Yeah, especially given the gank power of the Kha'Zix plus Renekton combination. We're going to see that in the reverse. We saw it was Crazy actually doing very well as far as farm was concerned and pressure in that lane in the early game, but it was Juve able to get around the map, get himself advantages elsewhere, and then come back and win that 1v1 as the game hit about 20 minutes in. Scary stuff. Ruler now on this hyper carry on the bottom side of the map. It's been a long time since we've seen him on the Twitch.
First time actually in competitive, and they're going to try and set up around Ruler. It's not usually a strategy that Samsung employs, so this time he is the MVP.
Excited to see what Ruler's going to be able to bring to the table, or whether this is going to be uncomfortable. All those questions to be answered as we hit the rift for game number 2 between BBQ and Samsung. Okay, here we are. Onto the rift for game number 2. Samsung versus BBQ. See whether anything interesting happens early on. Looks like it's just going to be a standard spread. So, Papa Smithy, all's quiet.
A lot of advantage we've gotten from early wards in game 1, so we'll track to see where the vision is put, which usually does dictate which path the junglers take. We know that they are almost on top of each other on the top side of the map thus far.
Yeah, Ambition may actually poke his head up, but he's been pinged.
Ruler actually started with ambush, so he's jumping straight into Ghost.
Yeah, he's actually taking a lot of damage here as well. Poison's going to be ticking down, so an attack speed helping him out, making sure that he wins that.
Usually start Expunge, you know. Most players won't get the ambush until level 4. Sometimes at level 3, but sometimes level 4. Just to go 2 points into Expunge and 1 point into the Venom Cask at level 2. So ambush start is something different, but not going to be a chase down kill onto Varus to start the map. All it really does is send him for an early back, but they don't use that time to invade. And thus for now, the vision is pretty shallow. Karma looking to be opportunistic and steal away some little raptors.
Yeah, we'll see what the Crown does. Of course, always compliment Crown on his skin choice. My personal favorite Karma skin. One of the originals. Is Ambition going to get a little bit of help on this red buff?
Sun Goddess?
Yeah, it's
Karma?
Sun Goddess Karma, yeah.
Why do I know? Sometimes I wonder why I know some of the things I know about League of Legends.
Yeah, don't worry. Most of the information that I know about League of Legends is entirely irrelevant.
You're a play-by-play caster. It adds color to your play-by-play. Look at Quickshot. He became most famous as a caster when he started by knowing all the skill names.
Hey, that is true.
At the time, other people didn't think that was important. So,
Rivington as well actually impressed me a lot. Season 1 with his skill name knowledge.
Anyone who knows the name of Tristana's passive gets a big thumbs up from me.
What is it, Draw a Bead?
Yeah. It's a silly name.
It is a silly name. Although it does make sense as far as increasing your range is concerned. There are a lot of passive names that I don't know, by the way, Papa Smithy.
All right, tell me one you don't know.
Tell you one I... that's confusing. Because
what's Sion's passive name?
I actually have no idea.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah. Be dead and run at people.
Yeah, Rise of the Undead. I don't know.
That's probably super badass because a lot of his other spells are super badass.
That's true.
Like
Soul of the Slayer.
Soul Furnace.
Soul Furnace is funny.
It's funny. Yeah.
Also, when you say that, it reminds me of that one called Moscan.
Also, like, super irrelevant as well. Oh, the Cogmore skin, like the walking oven?
Yes.
Oh, I love the walking oven.
A furnace is very similar to an oven, Atlas.
It is.
So there is an invade coming through here. Ambition, they had the ward down earlier. Got a lot of advantages around the red side jungle of BBQ in game 1, and with Cuvée able to push up on the Renekton and try and make the same sort of visit here. Smite available for Bless.
Pretty easy 3-buff start here for Ambition, though. I mean, Cuvée gives up some minions, but knows that he's a Renekton. He's got a lot of power, and they've got vision. Slice and Dice comes down. And Cuvée takes half the health off Bless and means that he can't contest on this one either. And as the rotation comes through, Crown actually wins out. We've got a battle on the bottom side. Both exhausts being used as Ruler throws out the heal, the Contaminate onto Ghost.
Crown.
Oh! Not able to get the final tick of damage, and Tempt holds onto his flash, importantly. We'll be able to teleport back to this lane, and there's no mana left on Crown. So both of them going to have to trade that Summoner Spell.
But Atlas, in every lane, Samsung wins. Cuvée able to push up as you can in the Renekton matchup. They get the contest on the red buff. Rinse and repeat from game 1. At the same time, Karma almost solo killing the LeBlanc and Ghost having to use both Summoners bot lane. So basically, at the drop of a hat, every lane wins for Samsung. And the last time I can remember this happening was that famous 2-0 victory over SKT, not this season, but last season, you'll remember, where Haru was monstering Peanut in the jungle as his lanes won around him. Samsung, it may only be 500 gold ahead, but the amount of confidence you have after a 3-buff and also winning Summoner trades in every lane is pretty insane to track.
And the importance of Kha'Zix winning this early game so hard as well, being able to bully Bless away from that red buff. Kha'Zix that has a lead is an absolutely disgusting thing to deal with. Now going to go back, probably will be able to grab the Tracker's Knife as now Bless looking to try and alter the course of this game with a kill onto Cuvée.
Nice.
Yeah, slices and dices his way around, and that will be the save. Not enough health. These BBQ members to hold this one down. Cull the Meek actually gives Cuvée so much of his health bar back.
Very nicely. Slice and dice like you mentioned there, Atlas. Got out, didn't have to invest a summoner. Be ready to go for the repeat gank. See how heavy into the DPS Crown will go.
Look at Core JJ, sneaky catfish, just standing on top of a ward.
Being that human ward. Doesn't even need to put down vision. Didn't have a ward available, but knows he'll be in the right spot if he needs to be. Yeah, a lot of mid laners will go Athenes here just because of the ability to start Chalice and get magic resist, but
I hope not.
You could see Crown going something like Merc Treads and a Lost Chapter. Enemy does have the Gragas as a true frontliner, so we'll see how much into damage he goes. He does spec into utility once in a while, and they have a jungle, sorry, a Twitch as their AD carry, so with a hyper carry on the team, maybe he'll disappoint you and go more into the utility.
Well, it does still have Deathfire Touch, so it's like he's looking for late game damage somewhere. That extra tick also works very well with Leandra's Torment, as we know. Says Max, hopefully.
Hope always springs eternal when you're talking about the item choices of Crown in particular.
And Karma in particular as well. It's one of those champions that can be exciting with that super nuke build. Can be uninteresting with almost any other.
I think many people would agree with you and bash on the drum of Karma being an interesting champion. We just see so much of her.
Yeah.
It's the reason she was the champion at the, at the forefront of MSI when it came to the MSI skin, because she's played so damn much.
Yeah. Also in multiple roles as well. Sort of like Karma is just always going to be a good choice.
Never forget Jungle Karma.
Yep.
From Diamond Procs.
Oh, that's true. Beautiful.
Taylor's going to register.
Oh, so close as Ambition gets the speed up from the Storm Raiders, and that's going to be first blood all too easy. That felt like mid lane Ambition on Kha'Zix for a second there, Papa Smithy, and it felt good.
Yeah, the mid lane focus coming through from Ambition. They had a control ward to try and spot. Had a ward on the right side as well. Open up and surprisingly able to make the gank happen onto Tempt, who had flash up, and was just a LeBlanc, who was one of the hardest to lock down. So a mistake, a miscalculation. Now Tempt, second game in a row on the LeBlanc, falls behind. And Samsung, after winning all those trades early, predictably push up, get down deep vision, a red buff contest for the first spawn, and then the second blue buff as well. Not much available in this jungle for Bless, who has been one of the big question marks on the side of BBQ. That is getting no happiness on the Rift, BBQ, increasingly in this series and then historically so far in spring season.
It's just not feeling like a good news story for this side. 1,200 gold is going to be the lead for Samsung, with a whole lot of late-game powerhouse threats. Most of it being in Ruler, but it's all about Crown buffing him up, Ambition getting the assassinations. He's now got his Warrior Enchant completed. We've only got a book and a little knife coming out of Bless. He's not the Gragas that is in the position to really do too much, although he does at least have the explosive cast, but he's a level behind. If Ambition finds him in the jungle, he's just dead. Not a whole lot more to be said about that.
Because he has Kazik snowballing and also the Twitch, I really do like going much more utility-focused in your Karma build.
Yeah, I didn't want to talk about it.
I know. Well, I'm going to bring it up.
Okay.
Viewers need to know that we wondered about it, but there's going to be the Chalice into Athene's Unholy Grail coming through from Crown. Let's have two people now to shield to success in the front line.
And is it surprising that Ruler's ahead in farm here towards the bottom side of the map? I mean, Ghost will be able to pick up this mini wave that's heading forward, so should be able to even that one up. But
if you had the audio muted or you just joined the stream, yes, but when you see them winning every lane earlier, it gives you the reason.
Yeah.
Matchup not fantastic in normal cases, but it hasn't been a normal game, Atlas. They have pressure in every lane, and Renekton ahead of his matchup, the Kled, as expected. But yeah, crucially, Twitch being 10 CS down is probably seen as a win, but being actually a CS ahead or complete parity with Varus is an even bigger win for the side of Samsung.
Ambition probably knows that this isn't watered. Totoro is going to get discovered. Oh god, that isolation damage was filthy. Can't force back underneath this turret. Gets his shield back. But that is going to be the only good news that we're going to be able to get out of this.
Samsung has 4 control wards around this side of the map. You can see one at the entrance next to the outer mid lane turret, a defensive one in the tri-brush, and then they pushed up 2 more. So they really want this.
Oh, once again, the aggression. Good Devour comes out of Core JJ, but the blasting cone is going to prevent anything. Grey Health coming out. Core JJ had to flash to be able to get that Devour onto Ambition, so wasn't able to flash over.
Coming through for Karma and Twitch going off the map. They probably wouldn't have been in position at time. BBQ didn't want to roll the dice after already losing out on a couple of trades this series, and Samsung back away and will still be able to solo down a Cloud Drake.
Yeah, Ambition happily able to pick this one up. Utilizing that Void Spike, get us some health back. And that Cloud Drake is going to go over to Samsung, so a lot of extra movement speed, and by a lot I mean a negligible amount of movement speed. Cloud Drake is still just doesn't feel like you're killing a super sweet dragon with what you get out of it.
We get to be greedy because there's been so much focus on Rift Heralds that's been that big contested objective that people get jazzed about and lane swaps are enacted about. Wasn't just a 1-week thing, because we saw, what, 70-80% of games with early pre-12-minute lane swaps in week 3, and now week 4. People chilling down a little bit, not going for those early swaps as much, even though first items have come out. Cutlass was usually the point where these Blade of the Ruin King AD carries would trade lane. All I had is, but was happy to just return to bot lane, because that seems to be the side of the map that Samsung are focused on in the early game.
They're actually going to hold this mini wave as well. They want to have this shoved as far up as they possibly can. They know that they've got a heck of a lot of vision around this area, so may as well keep putting the pressure on to Ghost and Totoro. Not allow too many gank opportunities for Bless either. They do have a control ward up in that tri-brush just above the turret, but there doesn't seem to be too many avenues apart from the lane where Bless can actually get through without being seen.
Crown has gone for the Super I'm a Jerk Karma build by just building an extra null magic mantle into the inevitable Merc Treads. Could be a Banshee Veil as well.
But the ultra awful.
Are you going to be sad if he replaces his Liandry's only with Banshees only?
Yeah, absolutely. Which has been the trend as as well.
There was that small nerf onto Banshees in this patch by increasing the gold and not giving it as much magic resist as the gold change, so slight less efficiency on the item, but still a very powerful item in the laning phase.
Yep, was certainly discovered as much when everyone in mid lane was building it. Crazy took a fair bit of damage there as Temp moves his way up towards the top side. Cuvée playing defensively given the fact that LeBlanc isn't in vision. Everything pretty understandable here from Samsung Galaxy. Good vision available from BBQ. Understand exactly what's going on as far as this blue buff is concerned, but does still mean that Samsung will be able to collect the man advantage, head forward, try and grab this. Okay, that is going to be Crazy using his ultimate.
I thought we were rolling, but denied.
Always denied. Never rolling, Papa Smithy.
First, OGN denied my rolling, and I said nothing. Then, I guess, Cuvée denied rolling.
Yep.
Said nothing still.
Well, there's the quickness. Totoro actually makes his way forward. Ambition taking a lot of damage. Good Devour comes out of Core JJ. Grey Health keeps him alive for so long as Crown comes in.
Switch!
The Mantra Inspire was there, and that gives Ruler the time to turn up. Does have the Spray and Praise doing a lot of damage. Good flash from Ghost means that it is a 1-for-0 going in favor of BBQ.
Cuvée had popped the ultimate, was looking for a teleport ward, didn't have one. BBQ pressured out of mid lane, but like you say, do exit with the only kill of the trade, so small advantage over there to BBQ. They won't be able to get any map control of it, certainly won't be picking up any objectives. Actually been zoned from the turret for a bit as well, so they feel good getting on the board in terms of kills, but that's the limit of the advantages that BBQ can pick up.
Yeah, health disadvantage certainly there for BBQ as they limped away from the sprayin' and prayin' Twitch. Bless turns up, but he's also very low, and Ambition's here with full health to try and support his Twitch. Temp heads over the wall, and Focused Resolve goes off.
You're just showing off now with
I'm
your
gonna call
Karma
it
skill names.
Yeah, but we went through this because they're so silly, and you probably shouldn't talk about them because they're honestly misleading a lot of the time, and I just went ahead and said all of them. Which ain't exactly great. Ghost taking a fair bit of damage here, but no joy to be found with this little skirmish in the jungle, and Core JJ goes back to cook towards the bottom side of the map.
Well, wants to finish off this turret, which is falling low, but we'll find Gragas there for reinforcements. Speaking of reinforcements,
yeah, Crown's actually going to turn up, walks all the way in to try and help clear out this minion wave. Ruler just needs one auto attack on those back minions to clear that one up. Ambition as well will be able to help. The Twitch well and truly ahead by about 10 CS. Crown once again makes his way forward. Another quickness comes out. It looks like Ruler just deleted straight away. That is going to impair this Samsung dive completely. The bottom lane is now dead, and BBQ take advantage of an overly optimistic dive from Samsung.
Yeah, shot calling though, and pivot from Totoro to actually quickness out of the tether into just charming Ruler under turret meant that Core JJ was out of position. He was trying to back up Crown while he was poking around the backside of the turret with the Devour, but was out of position to actually back up Ruler, who dies with his flash up, the heal not enough. Really good play from BBQ, and Samsung being just a bit over-eager like you mentioned, Atlas, is bringing this game more into parity after it felt like there was that air of inevitability of Samsung just winning the mid-game and ending this one early.
Yeah, especially after that first blood going the way of Ambition, but he hasn't been able to translate it into anything else thus far. Still don't have Bless completing his Runic Echoes just yet, and that is a Hex Drinker on top of the Warrior plus Ninja Tabi done for Ambition. I have a feeling Bless is probably sitting on a bit of cash when he goes back next.
Is that lane swap? 4 members top lane.
We also have a charge onto Cuvée.
5 members top lane.
Dominus is going to come in. Everyone's actually going to turn up in the end as Cuvée offers up his life. Okay. Crown now is in a lot of trouble. Bless is going to be the first one to fall, but can they get Crown? Looks like Crazy should be able to do so, but it's a double for Ambition.
2 for 2, but look at this on the other side of the map. They're trying to get an inner turret.
Yep, and that was first turret blood going over to Samsung as well. It means that that 2,000 gold lead is only going to be further augmented with this inner turret. Will be traded for that outer on the top side of the map for BBQ, but still feels like this bottom side of the map control for Samsung will be worth it.
Ends up being a 2 for 2, but an extra turret, Atlas, including the first brick going over to Ruler, so he'll have a fat stack of gold from that particular trade. Cuvée got the call to go back in because they were trading up in the bot lane, but just went far too aggressive. At some point, you are just walking up to 4 people, and even a Karma shield will not be enough. Knew that Ambition and Crown were backing him up. Went slightly too far, but you can't really mess with the results. Were an overall 2 for 2, so not even a kill trade up by the side of BBQ. In that inner turret will mean a lot of Baron pressure, but the Rift Herald already falling very low and should be another objective for the side of BBQ.
Yep, second game in a row. BBQ are able to pick up that Rift Herald. Bless is going to grab it. See whether they actually decide to put that one down as well. Mid lane outer turret could be an opportunity, but bottom lane also there as well. But Bless will have to traverse the map before he decides on what he exactly wants to do.
Because Samsung hadn't invested any vision to the top side of the map, making all those players on the bot side. They weren't realistically able to walk up and contest the Rift Heralds. Never feels great to trade like they did.
Wow, Ardent Sensor actually almost completed here for Crown, who has those Merc trades that you were talking about before. Isn't going to be the Banshee's Veil as item number 1, but still very supportive in this build. And Ruler, he's picked up his Runan's Hurricane. This is going to be a very quick, epically buffed Twitch that Samsung will have access to. But if he's picked off with the quickness, with the explosive cast, with all of the options that BBQ have already shown they know how to use, could be a big problem for Samsung. You mentioned this is the first competitive game that Ruler's played on the Twitch. All the eggs into that basket as well for Samsung.
Still pretty optimistic to be hitting a Twitch with the engage BBQ has. They have a lot of it, and from certain flanks, that's Twitch is going to be hard. Okay,
yeah. Grand entrance from Totoro. He's still very tanky as Tempt lands the chains.
There'll be a re-engage here.
Yeah, Ambition could possibly jump through, but it's going to be disengaged from the explosive cast coming out from Bless, and that's going to just spell a resolution to this fight. No one going to be falling down just yet. We'll see whether this tower is going to follow suit, whether something can be actually found. The evolved spikes from Ambition, bit of poke, but otherwise not too much. More on Samsung, just this 1-4 situation, like it was last game, continues.
Samsung able to walk up. They know a lot of those ultimates and initiations are down for the side of BBQ. Poke from Ambition's pretty massive, too.
The Grand Entrance actually not going to be able to find anything at all. Oh, God, Ghost! He's going to be taken down by Ruler, who wants more kills. Flashes! Totoro, one more auto attack, and Ruler has so much movement speed. Gets the distance, and that's going to be the double as the Gragas falls down. The tower's there as well. And I should never have doubted you, Ruler. I apologize completely. Ambition. Oh, Tempt. That was cute.
Does box him, like you say, but in the mid lane, Ruler will keep pushing. He had become a pure siege turret, has no boots, just played the Ruin King and a Hurricane, but could flash in, turned onto the damage much higher than BBQ could have respected for this early in the game. Now the structure lead is starting to be the really big dividing factor between Samsung and BBQ.
Yeah, and that division is going to be about 4,000 gold's worth as well. Tempt does finally finish that Hextech Gunblade as well as a cute little Fiendish Codex there for some extra cooldown reduction, and 5 stacks on his Dark Seal is good news, but this certainly isn't as we have a look at this replay.
I mean, this is not as threatening as usual because Totoro had used the quickness again. Lots of ults. Chains of Corruption were down as well. And Ruler just uses Q, gets the reset for the movement speed. Can't quite take out Totoro on the back end. Too slow.
Yeah.
Without boots, but finally has his Ninja Tabi. Picks up a Crypt Cloak. He knows what he wants next. Infinity Edge. And right now, like we say, very, very difficult for BBQ to actually get access to the Twitch.
Yeah, with that extra movement speed, he will be much safer irrespective. And this Rift Herald is one of those ones that you don't get too excited about. Papa Smithy, it's just going to go down after one singular charge. And this top lane outer turret will follow suit as well. Cuvée once again winning out in this split push battle. It's a different story though in the Kled versus Renekton matchup. This is where Cuvée was able to turn the tides on his Kled, but it had a lot to do with the team being further ahead. BBQ's vision now just getting shut out. Samsung looking for this early Baron. 22 minutes into the game. They blast cone their way over. This is 4 versus 1. It's 5 versus 1. It's completely unfair. And Baron's outnumbered.
And when you have the Karma here for the shielding, the speed here is going to be super high. Totoro, you're not going to poke over with the Q. No one steals anything with that. Will be Baron over to Samsung. You need to respect that you can go for those early Barons. We've seen it so much recently with a fed Twitch and also Karma going for this supportive build. Trivial objective for Samsung to pick up, and now the lead. It's getting bigger and bigger. Almost out of touching distance is Samsung Galaxy.
Yep, it's feeling all too easy once again. BBQ had some better plays in the early game this time around, but Still just feels like Samsung chugging their way towards the late game. And Papa Smithy, I want to take this opportunity for you to tell us about Japan. How was it?
That's a bit of a curveball there. Complete non sequitur this video game, but I take your point.
That's the kind of segue that I love.
I take your point. The OGN Legion knows this game is basically over, so we can talk about bookkeeping, like my trip to Japan. Japan was fun. You know, I'm very much of a different generation to most of our viewers, you know, being 30 years old, but I think we all grew up with Nintendo and Sony and wanting to visit Japan, and the video game heritage is speaking of heritage.
Well, Tempt is actually going to try and turn this one around. He lasts for a long time as Tempt has to flash. That is going to be Ghost throwing down the ultimate. This is BBQ trying to find their way back into this game. It's going to be one kill, but it's the most important one on the map. BBQ at least opened the door for some sort of aggression.
Clearly BBQ don't want to hear my Japan travel story.
Yeah.
I'll save that one for a different day. They try and force down this game. They want to stay in it. Getting a single pick on Tarula will delay things. And Samsung can just reset. There was no second pick. There was no third pick because of the gold lead and how tanky already that damn Tom Kench has become. And the BBQ will just back off.
Core JJ as well played that one out very, very nicely. Activating the Grey Health got crowned to safety, but a lot of summoner spells were utilized. And good summoner spell timing on the side of BBQ as well. You can see that Ruler's Flash is just about to come back up again, so opportunistic. Tempt able to get there at the right time as Cuvee looking to take down Crazy. Skull not going to come back up, and he gets out just a little bit too late.
And Cuvee's winning reverse matchups in Champion Summer. You know, again, this was not Cuvee in Spring, basically spamming Nautilus and Maokai. He's tried to learn the fighter matchups. He's mastered the Kled, and now people taking Kled into him look like imitators compared to Cuvee, who gets that solo kill as Samsung continue to rain pressure into the mid lane.
And speaking of Cuvee, this is the top lane inner turret that he prepared earlier. The rest of the team looking to get soul ability to transition up there. It's going to be free as you like, and they actually fake it out. They're looking for this inhibitor turret in the mid lane. Explosive Cast not going to find anything at all. Just going to try and delay as best as possible, but even that feels like a bridge too far here for BBQ.
Crazy respawns. Can potentially look for a teleport. Okay, he's going to try a charge play from the backline. Not spotted out by a ward yet.
It's one of those hyper-optimistic teleports as the charge does come in. Core JJ is going to be the focus. Does make sense, given the power of Devour. But look at the flank from the Twitch. Flashes out of the way of the grand entrance, but he gets exhausted. He's going to be taken down very early on, but are Samsung Galaxy far enough ahead to just win this fight anyway? The slice and dice from Cuvee is going to say yes as he takes down Crazy. Flashes over. Totoro taking damage. There's the Dominus from Cuvee. Just walks up to the rest, and flashes have to be burnt across the board. Ambition's out of mana, but there are so many things in this base that they can take away. Cuvee gets another kill, knocked up by the grand entrance, but just does not care as Core JJ delivers him to safety and towards this inhibitor as the base is torn apart by Samsung Galaxy. It should be 2 inhibitors at least with this 3-for-1 exchange.
And lots of aplomb there from Cuvee. Shoots the man down with a gun. Blade the Ruin King is the build in this particular game. No Tiamat item coming from Cuvee. A lot of people mixing up builds on patch 7.11 with the changes to Renekton. I think the Tiamat will be back on 7.12, but everyone's sitting on about 2,000 gold, and Twitch has probably bought some items. Just freshly shopped, so the lead is even bigger than we considered from the side of Samsung Galaxy. 10,000 gold, soon to be more items, and they used a lot of their initiation onto Core JJ. Ruler turns in and goes for the solo queue. Twitch play doesn't work. He is taken down first. A good target selection from BBQ, but the rest of this fight is a result of just how damn far ahead Samsung Galaxy are.
Yeah, and Ruler did manage to take half the HP bars off everyone on the side of BBQ, and his whole team was completely healthy, so I respect the play completely. Ambition does have the auto attack damage for this inhibitor, but otherwise nothing more to offer, and Samsung Galaxy looks all too easy as they just march into the base and take exactly what they want. Been very greedy this series. It just feels like they can have everything without any real answer on the side of BBQ. At least this game, they're losing their Twitch a lot of these fights.
And look, Atlas, you can cast a lot of games from what's on the screen.
Oh, thanks.
That's a standard thing. You can cast a lot of games from the minimap, which sometimes that shows the action. I feel like this game can be cast from the items because they are insane on the side of Samsung. That's some items going on right there.
Yep, that's going to be red buff as well as the poison taking down Ghost at the end of the day. Didn't have the heal, didn't have anything available to him as
Ruler
Ruler's
wants
just going
more.
to sneak past. And just wants to take down the Nexus turrets. Looks like Samsung Galaxy will march their way forward, 5 men strong. Cuvee just corralling everyone away from this. And it's just super academic. We said it last time around, Papa Smithy. We didn't even get to hear about your Japan trip as the Nexus is going to fall 28 minutes in for Samsung. They solidify top of the table in LCK Summer, and they do it in pretty commanding fashion this time around. And congratulations to the first-time Twitch from Ruler.
Didn't look like first time. Sure, a bit optimistic with opening up in the second last fight of the game. But Ruler played this one very smartly. Felt like the game was kind of decided when we had that moment where the red buff was stolen as all 3 lanes from Samsung had winning trades over their opponents. The game actually ended up being more and more the Samsung versus BBQ game we would have expected before the sideways steps from Samsung last week. Welcome return to form for them. Still trying to fight for that first spot by the end of the first round robin. After this 2-0, they will go ahead of SK Telecom by a 1-game score. They also have the head-to-head over SKT after beating them on the second day of the season. Whereas for BBQ, now right down the bottom, 1-5 on the season, joining what is increasingly a very polarizing league where we have a lot of teams with 1-match loss, 2-match loss, and a lot of teams also with just 1-match win.
And I feel like it's now solidifying itself into 2 camps, like you said, Papa Smithy. It's still a lot of question marks as far as the very best teams towards the top of the table, given the strength of KT Rolster as well as SKT, who have come back extremely aggressively after their first loss against Samsung. And Samsung as well now solidifying top spot. Now 3 telecom teams looking very, very strong. However, you do have teams like Jin Air who looked good despite their loss against KT recently. And teams like Afrika Freaks who are confusing at best.
But I think the divide point you make is probably the most salient.
Gaming as well.
I think the divide point, though, Atlas, is the most salient one because it feels like, once again, the top 3 are way ahead, the bottom 4 are significantly behind the middle of the pack, and then Longzhu, Jin Air, and Afrika Freaks are kind of in the middle trying to work out what's going on. So there is still going to be a top 5 to be discussed. Getting the top 5 brings you into the chance of running the gauntlet and winning the LCK. But you just can't move past the fact that Samsung and BBQ are in those very polarizing groups, and it was reflected in the game we saw today.
Yeah, and it feels like 3rd to 6th is going to be where things are going to be super heated for that battle, because one of these teams that we mentioned has been playing a whole lot better this season is going to have to miss out on that playoff spot. I know it's very early to talk about it, but it's starting to look like they're going to feel like it's a gimme or a bit of a difficult situation if they're denied that opportunity.
And I think it's not that early to talk about it because already being glass half full when you're 1-5 is starting to get a bit optimistic, right? Because we're almost at the end of the first round, Rob. You know, very few teams can turn around 1-6, 1-7, 1-8. You know, most of these teams at the bottom are going to be maybe 2-match wins going into the second round robin. Only the Afrika Freaks have been able to really ascend from 3-match wins into the playoffs. So it's very, very difficult already for these teams. You got to put up or shut up this week, it feels like. If MVP can beat Afrika, maybe hope still exists for them to distance themselves from this bottom of the pack. But the top is cementing. Only single-match losses for Samsung, SKT, and KT. This time around, Ruler did a lot more damage, but still was only 3rd on his team.
Jungler top damage here on the side of Samsung as well. Ambition looking so strong and playing Lee Sin Kha'Zix and assisting or claiming first blood in both games as well. This is the early game power and strength that we wanted out of Samsung and not necessarily what we were expecting from Ambition, but Cuvee is going to be able to grab the MVP on his Renekton. He was a dominant force on the top side of the map. And honestly, the whole team played pretty damn well. And
it's a good thing that we get a chance to talk to him because he did win the reverse matchup as well. Game 1, Kled into Renekton. Game 2, Renekton into Kled. And teams will draw a lot of respect for that. He joins BDD and outright first on the regular season MVP. This man on a team that finished the regular season in spring in 2nd place did not win a single MVP. He already has 5 in summer, and he's reborn after struggling a lot in spring season.
Yeah, and it's what you were talking about before as well, Papa Smithy. It's the fact that he is not a liability up towards the top side. We saw in that semi-final in spring that it was the aggression onto Cuvée that allowed KT to get to the grand final. Doesn't look like it's going to be a possibility this time around, despite the fact that they did lose to KT once again. It wasn't through Cuvée, though. He has certainly become a different player this season. We'll see whether he's only going to continue to get better as things go forward. Honorable mention to Ruler. Despite dying in this fight, he did a hell of a lot of damage.
You're right. He was a bit of that artillery that he needs to be. Cuvée has started to work in a lot of these melee Triforce users, melee bruisers, Kled, J4, and the some of the options. The Camille probably joins it there as well. Those really feel in the wheelhouse for Camille, and it's going to be important for him moving forward as this was the damage we're talking about. That's when I looked at the items and saw Infinity Edge by the Rune King. Hurricane, Death Cap for the Karma. That was where, as I said, you could cast the game from the items because you don't lose those fights, Atlas.
Nope.
Too much power on the side of Samsung, both in terms of macro play, micro play, the items in game 2. Comfortable victory over BBQ for Samsung Galaxy.
Yep, and a lot of it to do with that man on your screen. So, well-deserved MVP for Cuvée. As it is going to be the MVP interview, so we're going to throw it over to Joel for some translation.
Translations, we are here with Samsung, who picked up a 2-0 victory against BBQ Oliver, and we are here with the MVPs for today's games, Ambition and Cuvée for the interview. Ambition, you guys got a win, and your team is now back on the first place. How does it feel? Yeah, I feel like we just returned to where we were supposed to be in the first place, and it feels great to get the win today. And Cuvée, you're on the top of the MVP charts right now, getting 5 MVPs already. No, I feel like the MVP rankings aren't so important, but it's just all about our team getting the wins, and getting a good record is the most important thing for me. And against Ever8 winners in the last matchup, you guys got the 2-0 victory, but it wasn't a satisfactory one, according to your head coach. Yeah, even while we were playing the game, we realized that our plays weren't very satisfactory, and I felt like there were so many things to improve on, and I felt like we were just kind of looking for today to make improvements on those points. How was the environment after the team dinner after that game? Of course, we're eating dinner together just to celebrate the win itself, but in itself, it was okay. I want to return back to the game. And that first gank by the Lee Sin was something that the opposition had no idea what to expect, because it was a very unusual routing, unusual pathing from your side. Well, eventually, our bot lane had Braum, which was gonna keep the bot lane relatively safe in the first few minutes, and I thought that I needed to invest my time on the other lanes, but I tried to be in a situation where my opposition wouldn't be able to counter my ganks, and I tried to go as unpredictable as I could. That's the reason I made the gank as I did. We do have a video highlight of that gank that he's talking about. So they had no idea right here that you guys want to come in for that gank on bot lane. So the flank here. I'm sure Cuvée felt really good about how Ambition played throughout. Yeah, it feels great when he plays like that. And we saw that, Ambition, when the Rek'Sai was passing right by you, and you had the really easy shock, the Q go on him, but you missed it right away. Yeah, no, I thought he was coming towards me, so I shot the Q in, but so I got it in. And with the recent form of Cuvée, you get the super plays at times, but at the same time, you get these plays that you really wouldn't prefer sometimes. And it seems like you sometimes overcommit to things and you die in the result of it. Yeah, I feel like, as a man, you have to go in when the opportunity presents itself to you, and you just have to go in with all the confidence in the world. And the first game and second game with the top laners, you guys switched out the champions for both games. Yeah, I felt like, I had a better understanding of Kled that I could, face off against it as well as I can do it. There's a power spike timing with the Kled that I know that I'm sure the other players are not completely aware of right now. So that's gonna thing that just the intelligence that I use to take advantage of that. You went with Lee Sin and Kha'Zix for this series, but what's the difference between using the two champions? Kha'Zix is a champion that I'm really confident with. I have a lot of expertise on, so I don't make mistakes with it. But Lee Sin is a relatively unfamiliar champion compared to Kha'Zix, so I feel like, with Kha'Zix when I do play, I feel like I have a higher expectation for myself that I'm gonna have a better result.
Ambition was a famous
So like
Kha'Zix
when
mid lane player.
when I do the forward flashes or whatever, I know that with Kha'Zix I can make those plays happen. So those are the things that I want to improve with my Lee Sin plays, hopefully. Anything you like to comment on to Ambition regarding those comments? Nah, he can just do whatever he wants. I don't care. As long as we win the game, it all doesn't matter. And it seems like you were really being aggressive with the counter jungle, especially with the Kha'Zix in game 2. And I'm sure you guys communicate with your teammates in making those plays. Yeah, I felt like it was the champion itself that allowed me to counter jungle more aggressively with the Kha'Zix. When I took the advantage early, that I could make the continuous counter jungling to get the other jungler further behind. So those are the situations where I took advantage of my advantages that I had. And we have a super play video by Cuvee. We have to show it right here. And this is where Cuvee somehow got the solo kill there. Yeah, Kled with the passive that it has with the Scarl, that once it loses that passive, it really becomes no use after that. Is there a reason for that specific play that you did on that occasion? I'm sure Cuvee is not really finding the answer to that question, but we do have a birthday man in your team. You want to say anything to him? Talking about Core JJ here. Would you like to say something to him? But my wife has a birthday tomorrow as well, so I would like to choose my wife over Core JJ and telling her happy birthday. Obviously, Ambition's very soft for his wife, with his wife beating over Core JJ on the birthday celebrations. Would you like to say one last word to your fans? And I feel like despite our results, our gameplay hasn't been satisfactory so far, so we want to improve on that so we can improve our gameplays itself. So that seems to be the end of the interview. Back over to you guys.
Thank you very much, Joel, and I very much appreciate Ambition setting up that interview for extra wife points. That is incredible.
Need those brownie points sometimes, Atlas.
Oh, absolutely.
Maybe he had a late night practicing last night, got home late, got in trouble, food was cold.
Yep.
Needs to get some brownie points back. Here he went.
As a gamer with a wife, I could imagine that you're going to need as many wife points as possible. Wife points more important than life points, Pop Smithy. That's how that one works.
What? Best thing about Ambition is he's starting the games. Even his team has points, Atlas. They're top of the table, look.
Oh, yeah? Oh, that segue was utterly phenomenal, Pop Smithy. You're exactly right. Samsung gonna retain that top spot, and BBQ Oliver's going to take control of that bottom position as well. They're trying to get as far away from each other as possible. Samsung, obviously on a diet, need to stay away from the barbecue chicken. They are going to do so as effectively as you possibly can in those standings.
And even though BBQ are currently bottom of the table, if MVP are to lose here, they will actually overtake, which is not the type of overtaking you're looking for.
The battle for the bottom of the table.
The bottom for the drop is certainly there. Afrika Freaks come in heavy favorites, but Afrika Freaks still have not had a series go less than 3 games. You know, they're probably going to lose a game to MVP, Atlas.
Yeah, I have a feeling they will. I also have a feeling that it probably won't be game 1 because they're pretty good at game 1. They tend to win those. However, the rest of it is just a complete gamble. But it is going to be in quite some time, ladies and gentlemen, because our first series was so incredibly quick, and we are going to be back on for our second series at about 7:50. Games will pick and ban will go live at 8, but we'll be back on your screen at 7:50. So go do whatever you want, do whatever makes you feel happy. We'll see you back here at about then.